Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the live show right here on Paranormal Unity Live. I'm John. As always, it's great to have you all on board. G'day, Gary, Mark, Selena, and Mordinger so far. Tonight is going to be a different night. Now, we've had many topics to do with the paranormal, but this time around, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Tonight, we are going to leave it open as an open topic night. Right across the board, anything paranormal you guys want to talk about, so shall it be. Now, here it is. Everything paranormal. If you've got any questions or you've had any experiences, I want to hear about it. If you have any topics that you want to talk about, then please feel free to let me know. I would love to see what type of topics will come out tonight. Now, to answer you, Selena, there is no such thing as fake folk, and it is not paranormal. So please, next time, give me a paranormal topic, not a fairy topic. We are not into fairies. We are into the paranormal. So that is how the topic is going to be tonight. It is an open topic, ladies and gentlemen, and the floor is open to all. Welcome once again to everybody who has come into this room. I love to see a lot of people that come in here and talk about their experiences that they have had within the paranormal. I love hearing stories of experiences that people have had. I even love to hear of investigations that have happened. Now, talking about investigations, I actually watched a guy by the name of Peter Ellis, who is in Australia. His crew do a live investigation the other night in a very, very old cemetery in Australia. And what a blast it was. I really enjoyed watching their live feed. It was so awesome to watch, and I actually sat there and I felt like I was a part of their team investigating this old cemetery that they were doing. Good evening, Mordinger. And so tonight, this is how it's going to be. I want you guys to throw out any kind of topics that you guys are interested in. I want to hear about your experiences. I want to hear from, hopefully we can get some investigators in the room who can tell us a bit about their experiences that they've had during investigations. Michael, good evening. I've an experience to share, but I'm nervous. Michael, please do not be nervous. You don't have to have any reason whatsoever to be nervous. Hey, my friend Mark Saccone, how you doing, my friend? Well, it's great to have you on board, and I'm glad that you got the night off. Now, before we go any further whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, I got a couple of equipment today, and I want to share them with you. Now, this comes from a guy by the name of Alan Courtney. Now, this one here is like a REM pod. Okay, if you don't know what a REM pod is, it picks up anything that comes near it, except for humans. Okay, so what happens is, now I haven't got any batteries, as you can see at the back there, no batteries at all. I have to get some. Okay, it's called a parapod. Now, if any spirits come near it, they can actually light it up to let me know that they are near it. Okay, and another one here is called a spirit candle. Now, I have tried this out today, and I was really, really blown away from it. Now, it has a red and blue light on the top here. One, two, there's two antennas. Now, apparently this gadget here will show up blue if the spirit has a positive vibe to it. If it comes up red, it has a very negative one, which will show me that there's a negative energy around me. Now, sometimes Those colors also stand for calm and angry. So it's pretty much positive and negative energies. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. They came from Alan Courtney today, all the way from the South Island. Plus, he sent me a infrared IR light. So thank you so much, Alan, for these equipment. See, people, this is what happens when we back each other up in the paranormal. Someone will go through all their stuff, find stuff that they've got double ups on, and end up in my hands or in someone else's hands who needs them. So once again, Alan Courtney, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So those are my new equipment, which I will be trying out at the Wellington Hospital tomorrow night. I'm going to check it out. So I will be doing a live feed um, tomorrow night. Can you put those over this to me, thank you. Make sure they stand up right, please. Now, for those of you who are feeling really, really nervous, okay, don't be. Don't be nervous at all. Okay, you have nothing to be nervous about. This room is made for people who feel comfortable coming in here and talking about their experiences. No one is going to badger you. No one is going to put you down. No one is going to laugh about whatever you've got to say. You're taking equipment into the hospital. Are you allowed? I don't know, to be honest, Mark. Last week I did a quick investigation down there and I haven't been in trouble yet. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Hey, Trace, good to see you here. So that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to do is we are opening up the floor to everybody who has had experiences, who wants to talk about different types of topics. And please, please, please don't be afraid of sharing your experience with us, because you're not going to get laughed at. You're not going to get ridiculed. We do not do that in Paranormal Unity Live. We have a policy where everybody here is welcomed. We have a policy here where there is no bullying to be allowed in this room. If there are any bullying going on, you are immediately kicked out. And that is a warning to everybody. Okay, so who is willing to kick off the night with an experience or even with a question? Any type of topic that you want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to put it on up there. What about the Mothman? Gary, the Mothman. Now, that is a freaking interesting one. Now, that's been around for how many centuries? You don't know who the Mothman is. Oh, my gosh. Okay, let's bring up about the story of the Mothman, ladies and gentlemen, since my brother from another mother brought it up. The story of the Mothman, the legendary creature that terrorized a West Virginia town in the 1960s. The 1960s. Dude, I wasn't even born back then, brother. Okay, let's see what they've got to say. On November the 12th, 1966, in Clendenin, West Virginia, 5 grave diggers working in a cemetery noticed something that described as a brown human being that flew over their heads, gliding from tree to tree. This was the first reported sighting of what would come to be known as the Mothman, an elusive creature that, although now widely celebrated by the town it once terrorized, remains as mysterious as it was on the night that a few frightened witnesses first laid eyes on it. Just 3 days after that initial report in nearby Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 2 couples noticed a white-winged creature about 6 or 7 feet tall standing in front of the car they were all seated in. Eyewitnesses Roger Scarberry and Steve Mullett told the local paper, the Point Pleasant Register, that the beast had bright red eyes about 6 inches apart, a wingspan of 10 feet, and that it seemed to want to avoid the bright headlights of the car, likening it to a moth. According to the witnesses, the Mothman was able to fly at speeds greater than 100 miles per hour although he did not make for a clumsy runner, all of which was witnessed after the creature allegedly chased their moving vehicle to the outskirts of town. Now, if no one knows about Point Pleasant, Gary, would you like to continue the story, my brother? The Mothman prophecy is so unreal, it is not funny. Now, I have actually seen the movie of the Mothman featuring Richard Gere, I think it might have been. Please correct me if I am wrong, ladies and gentlemen. But apparently, after the Mothman prophecy, which inspired the movie 2002 movie on the same name, even went so far as to connect the creature to the collapse of the Silver Bridge on November the 15th, 1967, which resulted in the deaths of 46 people. Despite the official reason for the structure's demise, failed welding. Now there you go. Now apparently, after not long after the Mothman was supposedly spotted several times around Point Pleasant, their bridge, one of their main bridges into town, collapsed. As it states, 46 deaths. And the result of it, that was December the 15th, 1967. Now, apparently, a lot of people now are saying that the Mothman is actually an omen to warn people of a disaster coming up. So, there are so many write-ups about the Mothman being seen in so many places. There was one cited in Chernobyl disaster of 1986, the Mexican swine flu outbreak of 2009, and 2011 nuclear disaster at Fukushima, Japan, among others. So every time that this Mothman has been seen, disaster strikes. You pretty much see what I remember about it. I know he wasn't around for too long. There's a picture of the Mothman sitting on top of the bridge like a day before it collapsed. Yeah, exactly. So, so many stories about the Mothman, so many myths about the Mothman, and now there is a prophecy about the Mothman. Is it true? Who knows? Is it a myth? Who really knows? I mean, there were so many witnesses to prove the fact that the Mothman exists. And as I just read before, you had many reports of it being seen. Chernobyl's disaster in '86, the Mexican swine flu in 2009, and the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, Japan in 2011, and others, many, many more. So there you go. Who knows if it's real? You can only go on what people are saying or even what witnesses are saying. Do I believe if it's true? I'd have to see it with my own eyes before I can actually say yes or no. Michael, I have only been on Paranormal page for a short time. Do you ever talk about visiting spirits of loved ones? No, Michael, I actually haven't even brought up the topic of visiting spirits of loved ones. Some people have actually touched on it, but we haven't really touched on it. So if you'd like to open it up and let's talk about it, that'd be great. Mark Zagoni, you're asking about topic ideas. Have you ever thought about having an evidence night? Actually, Mark, I have, and I am planning on doing an evidence night where I will be bringing out a lot of my old EVPs that I've still got with me, photos that I'm actually going to be putting up on this page for everyone to take a look at for themselves and to judge to see what they hear on my EVP. So that is a really, really great one. Yes, I have been thinking about it, and yes, I will be doing it. And what? So yeah, that is a good one, Mark. And yeah, I have thought about it, mate. there will be a, a night where I will be doing an evidence night for people to actually see what I have captured, whether it be audio or whether it be still photos, and we'll see what happens. And the good thing about it, Mark, is this: is I may hear what I hear, others may hear what they hear or what they see. I don't say, well, you're wrong. I don't say, well, this is what I hear and what I see, and then play it for you guys. It is entirely up to you. All I say is, this is what I captured. I'm going to play it for you. You tell me what you hear. Or here is a photo that I captured. What do you see? Now, in saying that, when it comes to photos, some photos can be deceiving. There is a thing called matrixing and also pareidolia, where pretty much the brain will tell you what it's seen. And you go, oh, yeah, that's what I've seen. You've got to really take a good look at it. It takes me weeks to go through my photos, Mark, before I will actually say, yep, this is it. And this is how it is. Okay, before I even agree to what I've actually captured, I really sit down and nut it out, because there has been some times when I've actually thought, yeah, this is what I see. And then I show one of my old team members and they say, well, dude, you're actually wrong. And it's always good to have different types of, different eyes out there to have a look. They say the Mothman is part alien, first seen in 1966 in World War II. 1966 in World War II. Okay. Well, I can only go on with what I've spotted at this point in time. Yeah, like I said, it was in the 1960s, in a place, West Virginia. And most of the stories about it was actually about Point Pleasant. Now, if anyone is interested in the Mothman, I suggest that you actually find that movie, The Mothman, and watch it, because it is a hell of a movie. It really is. Sorry, got knocked off. What have I missed? LOL, Chase. Not much, Chase. So that's what tonight is all about. Hey, Ben, how's it going? That is what tonight is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about allowing you to talk about your experiences, allowing you to talk about investigations if you've been on one, allowing you to ask about different kinds of topics. We can bring them up, we can nut them out together, and we can see whether they're fake or whether they're real. Michael, I've been waiting for the right time to talk about my experience. I need time to reflect. Well, Michael, if you think tonight is the right time, my friend, to talk about your experiences, then please feel free to go for it. That's what this room is made for. This is what this room allows people to do. This is what we allow you to do. Okay, it is all up to you, my friend. If you feel that tonight is your night to talk about your experiences, and this goes for everybody, please do not be nervous. Okay, do not be scared and do not be afraid. If you feel that you want to talk about your experience tonight, then feel free to do so. And I would be quite overjoyed to actually hear your experiences. Tonight, this is about you guys. This isn't about me talking about other topics. Tonight, this is about you, the supporters. It's all about you tonight. This is what it's all about. Coming in here and talking openly and freely about the paranormal. I could talk about the paranormal every day, every night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I could do it, I would do it, because I love it. It's who I am. But tonight is not about me. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about you. So If you've got any experiences, please feel free to share them with us. I would love to hear your stories. Morning, am I experiencing astral travel as a child? It's still vivid to this day. So how about you tell us about it? Tell us about your experiences, Mordinger, what you remember. Croatian and Roanoke. Roanoke. Is that the other two places where it was seen, Gary? What's this you're sending me, miss? We're not talking about that. My wife, whom I dearly love, died in 2006, and every now and again she comes back. Well, Michael, you know what? That's so beautiful because with your wife coming back, it means that, one, she's probably checking up on you to see if you're okay. To show you also, my friend, that, hey, just because you can't see me or feel me, it doesn't mean that I'm not here with you. For me, when our loved ones come back, and this is only my point of view, Michael, it's to say, hey, you know what? I'm still here. I haven't left you, and I'm not going to. I am always here with you. Hey, Alan, and welcome. And you should be so happy and so overjoyed that your wife hasn't left you, that your wife is still there with you, always. And I really believe that. I really believe that she is letting you know that, hey, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still with you. I love you, and I always will. And I really believe that our loved ones, just because they pass on, it doesn't mean that they have left us. No, Roanoke was a village that disappeared overnight back when America was being settled. You have to look it up, bro. Really creepy. Okay, I'll do that. Roanoke. It's Roanoke. The truth behind New American Horror Story season. What happened to the lost colony? Is that the one that you're talking about, Gary? By Queen Elizabeth I's favourite, Sir Walter Raleigh. The first English settlement in the New World was found abandoned without a trace of the colonists in 1590. Here, Dr. Eric Klingelhofer investigates. Okay, we'll get back into that one. You make a nice counsellor, George. Thanks, Mark. The thing is, Mark, my friend, it's not about counseling. It's about allowing people to understand when it comes to loved ones passing on. I've never really believed that my loved ones have ever left me, even though I can't see them. And, and that's what I really believe, Michael. If you're still with us, I really, really want you to understand that I really believe that your wife is always going to be with you. You may not see her, my friend, and you may not feel her at times, but you've got to remember, Michael, she is in your heart and she will never, ever leave you. Never. And I don't believe that anybody's loved ones will ever leave them. And that's being honest and that's being truthful. I always believe that our loved ones are always here and that they will always be here. So, Michael, if you are still out there, my friend, and you can hear this, please remember that she has not left you, that she is in your heart and she goes with you everywhere you go. You see, it's like with me, I miss my mum. We lost her just over a year and a bit now, and I still talk to her every day. I miss her every day, but I know that my mum is here with me. And sometimes, my phone will sometimes catch me talking to her, and yet no one is in the room with me, and it's just because I still want to remember how we used to talk all the time. And I talk to her about my problems, like as if she was sitting right there, and sometimes I feel that she is, you know. So please, my friend, remember that she has never left you, she never will, because you always carry her with you wherever you go in your heart, always. They say if you feel them there, they are there. Talk to her, say hello, she will hear you. Definitely, she will hear you. I know it may sound a bit nuts. I know it may sound a bit crazy when you're home by yourself, Michael, but the thing is, you're not nuts and you're not crazy. You are actually still talking to your wife as if she is still sitting there with you. I still continue talking to my mum as like she is there with me. And a lot of times I believe that she is. And I yak away like she's sitting there right next to me, and I could be having a coffee and talk about my day. And sometimes, I could have good days, sometimes bad days, and I talk to her. And that's what you should do. Don't change for no one. Don't change for anything, my friend. Carry on talking to her like she's sitting right there with you right now. Talk to her about your day. Talk to her about how you've been feeling. Don't ever, ever, ever stop talking to her, because for me, once you stop talking to your loved ones, you start to forget them. And once you forget them, then all they become in the end is just a memory. And I don't want my mum to just be just a memory. I want my mum to be still part of my life, of my day-to-day life. So I really hope, my friend, that helps. Now, are there any more topics out there, or any more experiences, or even stories there and that, like Michael's? Like how Michael's going through right now, his experiences about feeling his wife, because she's never going to leave you, mate. I'm telling you that now. She never will. If you have any experiences, I'd love to hear it. Don't be shy. Don't be nervous. Share it with us, ladies and gentlemen. Share us your experiences. Share us your stories. even ask for different topics that you would love to hear about. And this is why I do the paranormal, Michael, is because I want answers. I want to find out if my loved ones are here with me, whether they're okay. Are they happy? And I'm really hoping that my words are reassuring you, my friend. So, do we have any more experiences or any more topics that you guys want to talk about? John White, the governor of the island colony in present-day North Carolina, returns from a supply trip to England to find the settlement deserted. White and his men found no trace of the 100 or so colonists he left behind, and there was no sign of violence. Among the missing were Eleanor Dare, White's daughter, and Virginia Dare, White's granddaughter, and the first English child born in America. August 18th was to have been Virginia's third birthday. The only clue to their mysterious disappearance was the word Croton, carved into the palisade that had been built around the settlement. The tree that you're talking about, Selena. So let's have a talk about this one. Gary, since you've brought it up, this colony that disappeared in 1587, as you said, White returned to England to get badly needed supplies, but then he returned and nobody was around. His daughter was missing and his granddaughter was missing. So where did they go? I've spoken about this, but here I go. Why didn't I see this? This is the first time I've ever spoken about this, but here I go. It was in 1989, and it was an icy night, and I was going through the Manuka Gorge, Manuka Gorge near Milton. It was late at night. The roads were very icy. I came across an accident. A man was waving me down. I could hardly see him. He said, "Please help, my daughter and wife have been hurt. Please help." I went over to the car. There was a man that was dead in the driver's seat, and the woman and girl were seriously hurt. I turned around and asked the man to help, and he was gone. I never told anyone about this, but the man that was dead in the driver's seat was the man that waved me down. Has anything like this happened to you? Well, I can say clearly the answer to that is no. Nothing like that has happened. I have, however, heard stories about it. Um, there has been an actual program about how a young lady was driving from one state of America to another one to start her new job, and they crashed up in this bad area that is really known for car crashes. And a couple ended up passing this lady naked on the road, but they kept driving. They get home, and the lady kept having dreams about this young girl. So in the end, they called the police up, and the police drove backwards and forwards, found nothing. But then one cop decided to do something different. He actually got out of his car and he walked the road. Now, he came across a shoe, a young boy's shoe, and thought that was out of the ordinary. So he went down into the bank to have a look, and there was the car crash. Now, this young boy lived, but the mother had died. The police are trying to still figure out to this day why this young lady was spotted on the side of the road naked, and how the young boy's shoe got from the car wreck all the way up to the side of the road. So there has been experiences like that. I've never come across it. One day, you never know. Thank you, Annie, for sharing that. Okay, Gary, let's get back to the one that you're discussing, this colonist that disappeared. So, if there were no remains found, no bodies, no nothing, everything's gone, where the hell did they go? Where did they go to? That is a mystery in itself. 9 viewers tonight live. And that's where the mystery comes from, Selena, is that there could be so many answers to this colony going missing. They could have tried, like you said, some people are saying that they tried to get back to England and they perished. They could have moved on, gone somewhere else, didn't bother to leave any kind of map or any type of message somewhere where people could find them. Oh, let's have a look at that one. See, this is what I like, is that people can give me different types of topics that even I've never heard about. And it makes a great subject. What is it? DYA. Here we go. Is it the diet loaf incident? The harrowing mystery of the diet loaf pass incident. I don't know how to pronounce it, but in January 1959, 9 Soviet college students were killed under mysterious circumstances while hiking the Ural Mountains in what's now known. That one that you're talking about, Gary, is actually a movie now, isn't it? I think it's extraterrestrials. Well, that's a good answer there, Trace. I mean, let's think of it. No remains, no nothing, just gone, vanished, poof. So, where's it gone? Where have they gone? What happened to them? Will we ever find out the answers? Will somebody actually find proof of what happened to these? Even this one about the, I think it's the diet loaf pass or something like that. I can't pronounce it. Sorry, guys. Pass incident. Now listen to this. On January 31st, 1959, 23-year-old skier hiker Igor Alec, oh, far out. I couldn't even tell you how to pronounce the freaking name, but never mind. And his team of 9 experienced ski hikers from the Ural Polytechnical Institute embarked on a journey to reach the peak of Ortorten, a mountain in the northern Urals. None of the hikers were ever seen again live. From what was recovered from cameras and diaries recovered from the site of their deaths, investigators were able to piece together that on February the 1st, the hiking team began to make their way through the then unnamed pass leading to Orton. As they pushed through the hostile cold climate towards the base of the mountain, they were hit with snowstorms that ripped through the narrow pass. Decreasing visibility caused the team to lose their sense of direction, and rather than moving towards Ortorten, they accidentally deviated their course west and found themselves on the slope near the top of a nearby mountain. The mountain is known as Kolot. Man, Russian words I cannot even pronounce. Anyway, meaning dead mountain in the language of the indigenous Mansi people of the region. In order to not lose the altitude they had gained, or because the team wanted to practice camping on a mountain slope before their ascent of Orton Dilatove, called for camp to made there. It was on the solitary mountainside that all 9 hikers would meet their end. Before he had embarked on this journey, Dyatlov had told his sports club that he and his team would send them a telegram as soon as they returned from the hike. However, when January the 26th rolled around and there was no communication from the ski hikers, a search party was mounted. After the volunteer force found the campsite, Army and police investigators were sent in to determine what had happened to the students. When they arrived on the mountain, investigators intended to find a simple scene. Though the students were experienced hikers, the route they were taking was difficult, and accidents on the tricky mountain trails are not unheard of. So there are many topics that we can get into, ladies and gentlemen. Problem with many topics is that conversation goes this way and that, and you're correct, Mark, very correct. So we're going to take this right back. I need to see if Michael is still here. Michael, if you're still here, then could you let me know that you're here, please? I myself believe firmly in other life forms. I don't see how in all this universe we could be the only ones. And that is correct too, Tracy. The thing is this, let's go right back, and I'm going to take it right back, ladies and gentlemen, to what Michael brought up about loved ones visiting us. Now, I believe I cry over the most silly things, like what the wife used to say. Why cry over them, my friend? And why feel silly? The thing is, I cry over my mum's laughter, how I miss it. It's not silly at all. I cry remembering my mum's smile, and I don't find that silly at all, my friend. So, you don't need to feel silly at all. You don't have to feel silly whatsoever. It's actually lagging now, Mark, but I am catching up slowly. Don't feel silly at all about crying over what you remember about your beautiful wife, my friend, because it's only natural. Okay, it's not about being silly at all, and I don't see why you should even say that you cry over the most silly things. You shouldn't at all, because they're not silly. When you think about the way your wife used to say things, that should make you smile, Michael. It should actually make you laugh because, you know, remembering what she used to say or remembering her smile or the way she laughed is very important, and it's very, very special. It is. I think back and I think about my mum, and some of the things like she used to say, especially when it came to my name, if I had done all right, or if she felt sorry for me, it'd be, oh, John. But if she was going to ground me, like if I had screwed up, it was, oh, John, what have you done? And I laugh at those memories because they're special for me. And you know what? When you cry, Michael, they should be happy tears, not silly things. They should be tears of happiness because you still remember. You still remember what she used to say. And I can guarantee if you think about it, Michael, you can still remember how she used to say things. Or how she used to smile or how she used to laugh. You know, those aren't silly things. They are actually beautiful things. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I know, ladies and gentlemen, I said that we are going to talk about different topics tonight, but I really feel that we should stick on this one because Michael needs, I feel, needs to be reassured or needs to understand that it's not a silly thing. That's right, Gary. It's true love. It's eternal and it's forever. That's what eternal is all about, my friend. It's totally normal to cry. I think a lot of people feel guilty when they cry. Yeah, it could be too, Trace, but I think a lot of people tend to break down too when they cry that they didn't break at the time that people think that they should have. You know, all of a sudden they find themselves crying and they don't understand why. But Michael, you don't need to feel silly at all. My teammates make fun of me. Well, you know what? Let them. Let them, Michael, because if they're going to make fun of you, they're really not teammates. Okay? They don't understand what you're feeling. They don't understand what you're feeling. And guess what, my friend? It shouldn't bug you. It shouldn't bug you at all because you know what? At least you can say, hey, you know what? I can still remember when my wife did this, or I can remember when my wife said this and she laughed about it, or I can remember when I did something wrong and my wife growled me. You know, a lot of people can sit there and go, well, I remember my loved one doing, well, I remember my loved one saying, and all the time they can't think of anything else. My teammates make fun of me too. Yeah, and that used to break my heart, Mark, and I'll be really, really honest with that. And you know that because you and I have spoken about that, that it used to get me really, really angry when the team used to get smart about you and put you down. You know I didn't like it, and I still don't to this day. And if you remember correctly, my friend, I always used to say, you just say the word dude, and I'll sort it. Because I had the utmost respect for you, and I still do. It's one thing that I can't stand, ladies and gentlemen, and that's bullying. And I won't stand for it at all. But Michael, you've got to realize, my friend, that what you remember is beautiful. What you remember is beautiful. Always remember that. It's not silly. It is not silly to cry. I cried the other Mother's Day. It was just after midnight when I remembered it was Mother's Day, and I looked at my mum's photo and I said, Happy Mother's Day, Mum. Okay. Mark wasn't making fun of you, Michael. He was actually being honest there at work because I used to work with a guy. He was always mocked, and people used to laugh about him because of the way he acted. So please don't take his mocking there. He was mocking you or making fun of you. I used to work for the guy, so I used to see the way he was treated. Okay, the more you talk out loud to your wife, the more it helps. If you hear her in your mind, that's her talking back. Light a candle and talk and cry. She will hear you. I talk to my daughter all the time like this. I laugh. I sometimes put boys on for her. I can hear her laughing in my head. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Mark. Mark is a joker, Michael, and a lot of times people joke around because they try to hide what they really feel. They don't want to know that when people joke about them, it hurts them. And that's how Mark is. Mark is the type of guy who I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to take a stab at this. And Mark, if I am wrong, I am sorry. It's what he hides inside as well. Okay, so he wouldn't have meant no disrespect to you, Michael. We all tend to either joke about something to hide something else. A lot of times people will laugh about things that really they just want to scream out and say, I'm hurting. So he wasn't meaning no disrespect to you, my friend, at all. Because I know for a fact that Mark does hurt. And, like all of us, we tend to hide it. We do. And we should. We shouldn't hide how we feel. We shouldn't. We should be able to express how we are feeling. We should be able to show people how we are feeling, tell people how we're feeling, but us as humans, we tend to hide it. For one, we don't want people to think we're soft. We don't want people to think that, everything hurts us. I'm a bit shaky. I wanted to share my story, but Mark has turned me quiet. Well, my friend, don't be quiet, please. Okay, Michael, I'm asking you. Mark didn't mean anything, and I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, he really didn't. Okay, he really truly didn't mean no disrespect to you. We all clown around, Michael. Sometimes we don't like how people come across, and that's because we don't know how to accept it or we don't know how to take it in. No, Mark, people just don't understand you. That's all. I do. We want to show you love and understanding, Michael, and that's exactly what we do, Michael. Okay? Mark didn't mean anything, Michael, so, don't be quiet. Okay, I used to feel like that too, Michael, whenever I talked about my loved ones and people would laugh at me. And I didn't. I used to get really antsy about it. But the fact of the matter, what I actually found out was that I wasn't the only one going through it. They were too, but they were showing it in a different way. Sometimes we misread people's speech over messages. Yeah, that's correct, Tracy. We do. We absolutely do. And that's where messaging sometimes does go astray. It really does. Michael, I know how you're feeling, my friend. I do. I've been down that road. Many, many, many years ago, I lost a loved one that was dear to my heart. And I've never really told this to anyone, Michael, only to certain family members, certain friends. But I had someone that I loved with all my heart when I was young, and she died in my arms. Now, the night that she died, we were actually hit by a drunk driver. And I don't mind sharing this with you guys. That night, I had actually asked her to marry me, and she told me that she was a few months pregnant. We were coming out of the place where we were celebrating, and a drunk driver hit us side on. So I know how you feel, Michael. I know how you feel. I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. And I can still remember the date as if it was only yesterday. So I know what you're going through. I do. I know how you're feeling, my friend. And sometimes, you wish you could just give up, but you don't. You wish sometimes that you could just join your loved ones, but you don't. You wish you could just hold your loved ones for just one more time. My wife comes to me and talks about her loose knees. It sounds silly, but it was loose knees that led us to hospital. So I know what you're going through, Michael. You know, I didn't just lose her, but I lost her and my unborn child. But yet it still feels like it was only yesterday that it happened. So you know what you feeling, my friend, when you say that you cry over the silliest things of what your wife said? Don't class it as silly, okay? Rejoice in it. Be happy that you still remember. And I tell you what, my friend, the day that you should actually cry, Michael, is when you actually forget her. Is when you forget what she looked like, what she sounded like, the silly little things that she said, you know? When you totally 100% forget, that should be the day that you should cry. That should be the day that you should cry, is when you start forgetting. See, I can't forget her. I can't forget my mum. I can't forget my aunties, my uncles, my cousins who have all passed on. And the day that I actually forget them will be the day that I will actually break down. And until that day happens, I'll still rejoice in what I remember about them. I'll still smile of seeing their faces, hearing their voices, hearing their laughter. And that's what you should be doing, Michael. You should be rejoicing. You should be laughing with her. You know, you talk about her loose knees and you said that's what got you into the hospital. Well, there you go. You know, let her talk about her loose knees to you. And right now, you know, I'm only seeing 5 people in the room. And to be honest, I really don't care about the numbers. What I care about tonight, Michael, is you, my friend. That's all I care about tonight. So, you know, everyone who is in this room, Michael, I want you to talk to us. I want you to be open with us. I want you to talk as if your wife is actually watching us right now, right this minute. What do you think she'd be saying to you right now, my friend? Tell us what you believe that your beautiful, loving wife would be saying to you right now if she was watching this. And I can guarantee she's probably sitting next to you watching this right now. This is the first time I've spoken about this sensitive topic. Yep, I know how you're feeling, Michael. Talking about that car crash is very, very sensitive to me, and I hardly talk about it. Because a lot of times when I used to try and talk about it, a lot of people used to say to me, well, that's in the past, John, you got to let it go. Why? Am I not allowed to hold on to memories? Am I not allowed to hold on to what her laughter sounded like, what her smile looked like, anything like that? But I need to log off and go rest. Okay, Michael, well, I'm really grateful that you've come on here tonight and you've shared your story with us. I really am. And I hope we see more of you. And if you ever need to talk, Michael, you know that I'm here. You can private message me anytime and I will sit up all night long if I have to and talk with you. Bless you, Michael. You got a heart of gold, my friend. Wow. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you heard what Michael had to say. And I really believe that every single one of us that was in the room tonight felt his pain. I really don't know what to say. Michael, I think you've really opened up a lot of people here tonight in this room. Maybe you've made a few of them feel human, if you want to put it this way. You've made them feel, and some of them probably didn't like it, so they left. Michael, I feel for you. My prayers are with you all the time, and I'm grateful and I'm honored, Michael, that you could actually come on here tonight and share what you did. And we need more people like you, Michael. We need a lot more people like you to be able to come here and be open about their experiences. I just don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. I'm just. What can you say? What can you do? What can you actually say to a man who's going through something like that? I mean, I do the best that I can when I come on here and do live topics. And for Michael to ask if we've ever talked about loved ones coming back, visiting you, and him telling us about his wife, and him saying that, he cries over the silliest little things, that he remembers about her. It's not silly at all, ladies and gentlemen, it's not. It's really not silly at all, but it's special. And I want everyone here tonight to understand that when you think of a loved one and you start to cry and you don't know the reason why you start to cry, don't think it's silly for 1 minute. Don't think of it as silly at all, but think of it as you remembering an experience with a loved one who passed that I've only shared with certain family members. Well, Gary, if you feel like talking, my friend, my brother, then feel free to. Tonight has really opened everybody up, especially me. Sitting here as the host, and you have one of your supporters, one of your followers tell a story like that, what do you do? What do you say? Are you supposed to turn around and try and make them feel better? Try and make them understand? What do you do? And it's hard when you're the host and they're talking to you openly. And tonight it actually felt like it was actually one-on-one, that it was just him and I tonight, that there was nobody else in the room. And that's why I said I don't care about the numbers. For all I care about is, hey, if you want to go, go. Feel free to. At the end of the day, that is your business if you want to leave when someone is pouring their guts out to you. But tonight he really opened up, and tonight I saw a different side of Michael. I saw the real him, the hurt, the pain, him missing his wife. And I think we can all relate to that, ladies and gentlemen. I really believe we can. We've all lost loved ones in our lives somewhere along the line. But I've always believed this. The day that you start to cry, the day that you really break down, is the day that you forget them. Not when you remember them. When you remember them, you should be laughing about what they used to say or how they used to say things. Smile when you remember their smiles, their laughter, the way they used to do things. I mean, people who knew my mum, okay, she had an out of it way of growling me or an out of it way of being smart. And I still remember them, and so do my children. They even get smart about it sometimes. But it's when you don't remember is when you should cry. That should be the only time. Now, I could sit here and go and talk all night long about my beautiful mum and the way that she smiled and the way that she laughed and the way that she growled me. And we could be here all night, or Gary, you could be telling us about your loved ones, or Janet, or Maureen, or anyone else who's in this room. But it's the time when you sit there and you go, oh, I remember. Oh, but I remember when they oh no, hang on, and you can't remember. You can't remember. That is the day when you should break down and cry because you cannot remember a bloody thing about that loved one. So then you need to ask you the $100 question is, why can't I? What made you forget? You know, it's easy to say goodbye to a loved one when they've passed on and you put them in the ground, you put the dirt over them, and you walk away and you go and have a cup of tea and it's all done and dusted. You know, some people think that when you're dead, you're dead. That's it. See you later. Hey, kornera, ka kite an, or catch you on the other side. Doesn't work that way. I still remember the guy who took me under his wing. He's been dead 5 years. 5.5. Eh? 5.5. 5.5 years now. Okay, I classed him as my dad because that's how he was to me and it's how he treated me. And every time I went to go visit him in the rest home, I was always, yeah, g'day. Always, without a doubt. Yeah, g'day. And he had the worst sense of humour you could ever think of, ladies and gentlemen. But the funny thing is, he made us laugh. I look at my dad every day. I have the pics of him and his coffin on my hard drive. See, I have pictures of my mum right next door to my bed. I used to have the lady's name who died in my arms tattooed right there. In 2010, I had to cover it up because I thought it was time to move on. That's where her name used to be, right there. Always remember your loved ones. Never forget them. Never. Don't forget the way they look. Don't forget the way they smiled. Don't forget the way they laughed. Most of all, don't forget the way they used to show their love to you. Always remember. Always. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been, I guess, an emotional ride tonight. a different side of the paranormal. Tonight we allowed one of our supporters, one of our followers, to talk about his wife that's passed on. We saw his pain through his words, and we felt his pain. And I think, Michael, you've given us another sense of reason. Why we do the things that we do. Why we should carry on. And I thank you for that, my friend. I really do. Michael, you've given us a sense of reason, especially for me, to do the things that I do, to go out and find the answers to why our loved ones stay with us. You've also given us a sense of reason of why we continue to be here. You've given us a sense of reason to remember our loved ones and the things that they used to say to us, the way they were, so we would never forget. And I thank you for that. I thank the ones that are still here tonight that stayed and continued. I thank everybody that came in here tonight. Until tomorrow night, I will be live from Wellington. We're heading back down again tomorrow night in Wellington. I ask that your prayers been given out to my mum, my adopted mum that is, as she goes for an eye operation early Wednesday morning. I ask for you guys to keep her in your prayers. And I thank you all for being here. I thank you for the support. Until tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your night. But most of all, stay paranormal. Good night.